typically 2 years.
But
And
it's one of those things like even somebody who is, a professional, like somebody who's earned their certification through.
So, I mean, I think that anyone that's not doing continuing education, that's not focusing on those things, I think they're cheating themselves, and ultimately they could be cheating their patients, because we all know in the things that we've learned how many times the basics are the things that kind of get sloppy, and just touching up on those things makes you more efficient.
well, and the other aspect is, as you guys are in this journey to become certified as EMTs, what will happen is, in some places, to maintain your EMT certification, you must have a valid CPR card. And if you decide to do this as a volunteer or even as a career, a lot of times your departments will have a policy that states you will have a valid CPR card to be able to continue doing whatever you're doing. I think as we're talking offline a little bit about the standards of CPR and kind of the guidelines and recommendations that are put forth by the different certifying bodies. The most prominent of which being the American Heart Association, that kind of set the standard for everybody in basic cardiac life support and advanced cardiac life support and all the things. Typically 2 years. Typically 2 years.
But it's one of those things like even somebody who is, a professional, like somebody who's earned their certification through basically the level of an associate's degree, every 2 years still has to go and get a CPR certification and there might be other continuing education things that you do along the way too, but that's the one that's like, oh, you got to keep current on CPR, because it seems like things change.
They do.
At one point, they had completely went away from lay responders, or just regular folks out there who happen to be CPR certified and they don't work in healthcare. They changed it to where they were just doing hands only CPR. They were doing compressions, but then they weren't doing any sort of rescue breathing. And because they thought the thought process at the time was there's enough oxygen circulating in your body, in your bloodstream, and in your lungs to for at least that first 6 minutes, be good enough. And what they've discovered is it just doesn't have favorable outcomes. So that has went to the wayside, and that's a change.